So in 1989, we had a company-wide hackathon where everybody got together and we decided to start working on a new vision, okay? And that vision was to target the target audience of startups.
There's a race to become Europe's Silicon Valley, and according to some metrics, Berlin is winning. Today, Berlin has close to 5,000 startups, employing almost 100,000 people, or 5% of Berlin's working population. Why is Berlin so attractive for startups? Nicolas Rohrwacher of Berlin Startup Hub Factory says it's due to Berlin's ecosystem, a density of institutions, investors and talent, low cost of living and renting, a rich cultural offering, and what Rohrwacher refers to as Berlin's special innovative and entrepreneurial DNA. New building developments for big tech and startups are underway in the city's so-called transformation spaces, such as in Friedrichshain-Kreuzberg, described by the city as a space that culturally diverse and highly creative residents fill with life and thus shape, a space of local actors.
Google is the latest mega corporation setting up here. Activists say their presence is yet another magnet for property speculators.
As a side effect of its tech boom, Berlin is experiencing rapid financialization of the property market, an instrument of rising rents, gentrification and displacement. Even an elaborate network emerging from citizens' resistance is often helpless in the face of legal construct, which is routinely exploited by private investors to work out their strategies without any friction. Even Berlin tech companies like Rocket Internet are buying up real estate on the housing market. For the tenants of Urban 67, there is a moment of distress and fear of being displaced from their own home and neighborhood where they grew up.
For the last 9 months, Abhishek Dwivedi has been sleeping on a couch at his brother's place in Berlin. He's a computer programmer, earning more than 50,000 euros a year. But he's unable to find an apartment he can afford to rent.
The market is responding to the demand for furnished rentals, which can avoid strict rent controls set by the Berlin Senate, with platforms such as Wunderflats with high-quality luxury apartments ready to go. Tech companies are encroaching on Berlin's artist spaces in formerly abandoned buildings. The startup scene uses the cultural appeal of the art scene to attract workers and has also started inhabiting the same raw spaces, evicting the artists who created the appeal in the first place.
So, why cannot Villana become the next Jeff? Even 100th, I think, is still 1 billion, so it's fine.
The idea that anyone with a computer can disrupt the old order and win big permeates the entire startup scene. Rejecting corporate work culture, startups prefer the informality of co-working hubs, where cloud-like space-as-a-service subscription models maximize opportunities for networking and cross-pollination of ideas. Beyond ubiquitous office ping-pong tables, believed to activate parts of the brain responsible for innovation, startup culture promotes work social events as drivers of connection and innovation, for which tech workers are happy to sacrifice their home lives.
Nick Lowley's office looks a lot like his apartment. That's because the 25-year-old former Goldman Sachs banker has an office in a posh WeWork co-working space and sleeps in a WeLive, a commune run by the same company.
WeLive joins Berlin-based quarters in taking advantage of the new co-living trend in global tech hubs. For a monthly subscription, residents can enjoy short or long-term fully serviced living, a private room with a weekly change of sheets, access to common workspaces, lounges, gyms and entertainment, along with an instant circle of friends as part of a global community.
When Berlin markets itself internationally as Startup Home as a Service, we see a recoding of Berlin's DNA to a digital urban ecosystem of curated products and services, from workspaces and food to housing and even friendships, informed by data to know exactly what users need and when they need it.
For Nick, decisions are exhausting. WeWorld gives his life a structure.
So I'm very happy to have someone, whether it's Big Brother or Big WeWork, sitting in Chelsea, picking out how these things should look.
Our Google data center is already a fully serviced tech city within a single building, a totally curated space of optimization. For its inhabitants, the highest purpose is to feel part of the tech machine. Where humans once operated machines, a new hybrid work-life culture driven by tech now observes and operates the humans. The existing city gradually becomes just a shell for the hermetic spaces of the tech world.